one of the greatest tools that we have. We can think ourselves out of where we are. We can think ourselves into a bigger tax bracket. We can think ourselves into a better album. We can think ourselves into greater production. Our mind is true artistry.
Today on Loves Music, I speak with Brandin J. Marks. Brandin is a singer, songwriter, producer, all the way from Houston, Texas. He has an album out called Brandin Land with a deluxe album coming out shortly after. He also does vocal coaching and speech coaching, and he also does a mental detox workshop, which helps artists and creatives declutter the things in their mind that challenges them and sets up blocks and makes it harder for them to reach their potential. This is one of my favorite interviews, and I can't wait to share it with you. If you like what you've heard so far, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share your feedback with me. So, up next, all the way from Houston, we have Brandin J. Marks. Brandin, thanks for joining us on Loves Music, man. I've been looking forward to this interview since we had our prep call the other night, man. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you. My pleasure. Glad to be here.
So where do we even begin? The album, Brandin Land? I really didn't know what to expect, man. I put it on. I know it's a pop record. I know you have roots in R&B. And I know you're a man of faith. So I was like, all right, this is going to feel more like kind of like a toned down, maybe like adult contemporary album. Like I expect it to be like well produced because you do good work. So it's going to be kind of safe. It is anything but. The choices that you're making sonically, vocally, lyrically, I'm like, it is so creative and so ahead of its time. I love the project, man. And you said you have a deluxe version coming out as well.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for listening and taking the time, and thank you for those praises. Yes, I'm working on the deluxe version of the album. I guess from the start of Brandin Land, it really started with a roller coaster, which was the first single from the project, which came out in 2023, I believe. Thank you. And then so it just kind of started with this funk pop track I did, and then I got so many raving reviews that everyone was like, "Hey, is this a part of a whole like concept?" And then it just all unfolded from there. I'm just like, "Oh, this is a whole experience." And I'm a storyteller at heart, so I was just like, "Okay, let's tell the whole story. Let's say what this ride is all about." So that's the start of it.
And it's ambitious because I think it's your first full length release. So there's something ambitious about doing a concept album as your first release. You know, everybody's first album is like, all right, this is just me till now. And it's almost like autobiographical a little bit, kind of in like whatever lane they record in. But this is like a concept album. You're taking somebody on like a ride through like a carnival. I loved it. Couple things. It's not era specific. So you can literally play that album and I'll be like, oh, this is like an early 80s pop record, kind of like post 70s Stevie Wonder. You know what I mean? Like, right, like everything after like Hotter Than July, when he had that like 80s run right up until he did like the Jungle Fever soundtrack. You know what I mean? And he was experimenting with like the 90s drums and like the synths and stuff. If you were like, this is an early 80s pop, like, you know, soul pop record, I'd be like, yeah, okay. If you were like, this is this is a good music artist from like Kanye's label in 2014, I'd be like, all right, yeah, I believe that. It's like it doesn't like tie itself to like a certain era. And then it doesn't tie itself to a region either. Like I know you're from Houston, but it doesn't sound like an American soul R&B record. You could be like, this is Daft Punk produced. This is like a European pop record. I'm like, yeah, okay, I believe you. You know, and it doesn't really sound like it's from a specific coast either. You know what I mean? The world appeal of this project is like, it's special, man. I hope you're very proud of this album, man, because I was blown away.
It means a lot. It means a lot to hear that you can hear some of the themes and even for you to mention Other Than July, because not only is Stevie Wonder an inspiration, but my next project, my Christmas album, is developed from that, which is called which is coming hopefully this year, but it's Colder Than December. And I kind of wanted to play on that. So you're just so unique. But yeah, man.
All right.
So I really feel like I gave myself permission to time travel back to almost a teenage self to produce this. And not so much as in the fantasy aspect, but I think more so the freedom and the time to love and to have fun. I feel like as an adult, everything's fighting for our attention. Like we're busy being father or mom or business owner or coworker, like whatever life is throwing our way, like we're we're so enamored with what that could be and what that looks like. And so I feel like I had to really time travel back, not just sonically, but even internally to create the fun for the project to say, hey, like I can actually take time to like just be. And I feel like Brandon Land is that. Like it's this land of wonder where you can just like really feel like you're on a ride and you can exit for a moment and like get your ticket and enter.
Absolutely. It's because it's what it is. It's a fun because their arrangements are sophisticated, right? It's not you didn't just it doesn't sound like an album you just kind of put together. Like there's songs where you're talking and I'm like, he's just playing with us right now. Like you have a song like Cotton Candy, which is like a fun pop record, but then you listen to the arrangements, you listen to like the vocal arrangements in Smoke and Mirrors. And I'm like, no, this is like the kind of stuff like you're doing tracks in the studio for like 3 and 4 weeks to get this to sound like this. So what's brilliant about a project like that is you're taking something that's really hard and sophisticated, and then it makes it look like you're just dialing these songs up like with ease and simplicity. Is what makes those pop records so brilliant. You know what I mean? It's like you can sit there as an artist and be like, man, I can record one of these. And the next thing you know, you're 4 hours later in the studio, like, I cannot record one of these.
Man, no. I'll be honest with you. It didn't take that long. It did not
Yeah.
take that long.
Okay.
And I think it's because I sit with my music before I ever go into the studio. And I feel like a lot of people um they may go into like create like I do believe in like an organic session where like, hey, I'm gonna allow like the arrangement or the backgrounds and stuff to kind of like make their own way. But like before I go into the studio, I've pretty much mapped out vocally the direction I want to go for all of my leads. And I'm going to take it, kind of piece by piece, line by line. So to be honest with you, it didn't take like 4 and 5 weeks. I think like specifically like Smoke and Mirrors, we did Smoke and Mirrors in think a 3 hour session. And the only thing I did,
Wow.
the only thing I did when we came back is I nailed some of the lead parts that I was like, okay, let's put this here and let's, like redo some overdubs for it. But no, it really didn't take that long. But I love that you can hear the quality of the time that's taken because I may not take that time in studio, but I take that time at home. Take that time in my car. I take that time in the shower, like where I'm like walking through the music and just kind of becoming one with it. So when I finally get in the session, and also I'm independent. So I'll be honest with you, I would love to have like 12-hour sessions, but financially I'm backing myself.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? I gotta
Yeah.
come in like ready.
No, you need 12-hour money for 12 hours.
That's what I'm saying. And I feel like that's a message to independent artists because it creates a discipline for us to show up and be ready. I know when that call comes.
It creates a sense of urgency. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you take me through your because I know you don't play an instrument per se, like in terms of like live or anything. So are you just kind of humming melodies or like kind of just I guess just like mumbling melodies to like your engineers and they're playing tracks live, or you just using patches?
Yeah, so generally, it depends. I may receive the lyrics first, or sometimes it's the melody first. Like I can just start hearing the words. Like say you bad for me, you give me cavities. Or I may hear the melody. Bum, ba, da, ba, da, ba, ba, da, da, ba. I say, well, what is that? And so then I kind of just channel that message and put it pen to paper or thumb to notes and on the iPhone. But the process is different each time. It just really depends on the song and how it comes to me. And then from that point, I'll pitch it to one of my producers. Like I might hit Nathan. Shout out to Nathan Joseph, and just be like, "Hey, bro, I got this voice
Nathan
memo." He's like,
Joseph.
"Okay, what? When you want to work on it?" And so I'll be like, "What's
Okay.
what's your schedule this week?" And I'll roll over there, and then we'll just sit in a session. Um, I'll tell him like if I have certain um, chord progressions like I have in mind, or just a certain like style that I want to go. Like even if I have to play him a reference track to say, oh, you see like this kind of chord structure or this tempo, this beat, like this is the direction I want to go sonically. And then we kind of build from that. And those sessions can look like short or long. Like there's been times we had to come back and revisit. Like I think Carousel of Love from this project, which is like an interlude on this project. The first time it happened, Nathan was like, "This don't make." I was like, "No, it makes sense. We just have to meet each other." But yeah, so each
Yeah, you
creative
sound like me, man. Yeah.
we almost fought Carousel of Love. Like
Yeah.
we almost but each process creatively is different. It kind of has its own. I don't have a roadmap for it. I just kind of interpret it as it comes.
So how do you know the difference between, okay, I think we got one, or all right, there's potential here, I need to keep going, or hey, let's throw this one in the can.
Oh, I'll be honest. I don't take a song to Nathan that I don't already believe in myself.
All right, there we go.
I
That makes
don't.
sense.
Man, same with some of my other producers like Jacob Williams. Like when I take the songs, like I've actually digested it. Like I can hear it. Like it's in full form, and then I've just got to make sense of that with the instrumentation. So I feel like I can tell the difference based on whether or not I make the call on it. If I don't make the call, it's probably not ready. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little bit because I know you have like a vocal mentorship program. For anyone that hasn't heard the album yet, Brandon is, as singing goes, top tier guy. You kind of give me a like music soul child vibes. You do the Stevie thing a little bit, but you really do have your own thing. Take me through the vocal mentorship and how you're helping singers get plugged in here and hone their skills.
Sure, for sure. So I've done vocal directing and teaching like choirs and ensembles and vocalists for like a number of years. And so I finally just kind of said yes. A lot of people have asked me like for coaching and direction vocally. So I've been working with a couple of artists in studio and for live performance. And so now I'm offering vocal mentorship. So if you are a speaker, you wanna carry that confidence to stage or to radio or whatever your platform is, or if you are a vocalist, you say, "Hey, I want to trust my voice. I want to learn my voice," and that's the slogan: learn your voice and trust your voice. So it's Mark's vocal mentorship.
And what do you think is harder to teach, the mental aspect of it or the actual hard skills? Like hitting notes, technicality, or is it kind of getting like the mental blocks there? Like what's harder for your students typically? You say both?
No, 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 definitely the mental block. I feel like technique is practice. Um, Anything you hear, if you can believe in yourself enough to copy it, and that's really how I learned a lot of things. My father trained me on all genres of music, and when he did, he would tell me, if you want to get better, sing everything you hear. And I got a bunch of shut ups and be quiets, but but it helped me like master my
Yeah.
voice, learn my voice. But that was from jingles to radio to commercials. Like we would repeat everything, and I would harmonize with my dad. So I really feel like the technique aspect is something that anyone can learn, but it's really a matter of the mindset and you telling yourself and giving yourself permission to do it. Because I feel like a lot of times with vocalists that I've worked with, um, their first thing is, I can't do it. That's what they'll always, I can't do it, or that's not in my range. It's like, well, you don't actually know your range because you don't know your voice yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And so I feel like the mental aspect is the most important part for a singer. Is if you don't have this part right, and sometimes there's residue there just about your own being and belief system. It has nothing to do with your voice, but it affects your voice. So definitely the mind is the start of it all.
Well, that's actually a good segue because you also have a mental detox program that is a result of, I guess a way to help struggling artists to kind of unblock some of the mental challenges that they may be having, whether it's in just mental health, depression, anxiety. Can you kind of expand some of that for me as well?
So yeah, mental detox is a framework that I created. I went to seminary for Christian counseling, but then I really just wanted deeper, and so I basically co-mixed private studies in psychology, neuroscience, faith, put them all together, and it started about 7 years, going on 8 years ago, a small coffee shop in the Old Town Spring. I just started this traditional, or I should say, alternative to traditional therapy, group therapy in this coffee shop once a month. And I would just invite people and I would have discussions about how to process our emotions and our feelings from emotional intelligence, how to navigate our energy blocks. And so that's really the basis of mental detox is to declutter your mind, to clear out your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions.
So what would be the ideal indicator that I would benefit from a program like yours? Like what would I be experiencing as somebody to say, hey, this would be a good program for me?
You're desiring more fulfillment. You're tired, whether physically or emotionally. You're often at emotional capacity where you have to turn off. Your social battery is low. All of these are telltale signs that you have emotional clutter and you need to cleanse. So if you're at any of those spaces where you say, hey, I want to feel better, or I'm tired all the time, or I'm exhausted all the time, you've accumulated a lot of weight that you've just had to work through or keep going through. And so you should definitely give it attention for sure.
There was something that you said in our prep call that I thought was really profound. And some of this weight and some of the challenges or blocks, as we call them, lies that we're perpetuating on our own, things that we believe to be true, which isn't, that are blocking us, that you then have to counter with actual truths. Can you give me an example of those? Like maybe from like an artist perspective, like some of the things that someone might be telling themselves, and then in turn, some of the truths to counteract that lie.
I don't have what it takes. Is a good lie that sometimes we may not verbalize or put it in sentence structure, but it's a belief that we have internally. And sometimes I think we have to say those things aloud. And that's one of my practices with a mental detox session is I will say whatever truth, even if it's a lie, I will say that aloud and I will replace it with a greater truth. So if the lie is I'm not good enough or I don't have what it takes, then replace that negative thought with three positive things to reinforce it. What it takes. I'm supposed to be here. I got everything I need.
And is that something that you would do daily? Is that something, or is that like an affirmation you would make on a weekly basis? Like, what would be like on what sort of effort or output or implementation of these tools would be most useful if I want to be successful in terms of like changing my thought processes?
Yeah, so the techniques have to be applied every day. One of the first like algorithms I created is what I call the 7 second algorithm. So in mental detox, I created this framework based on numerology. So numerology, seven is the number of completion, which means a thing is perfect. So the 7 second algorithm says you need to cancel a negative thought before 7 seconds, before it's made manifest in this realm, in this plane or net, are in the quantum field, in the spirit realm, whatever your terminology is. So you need to cancel it and replace it within a 6 second window. So if it says I'm not enough, you've got 6 seconds before it's birthed into the atmosphere. So that's a technique that you would need to practice in the moment every day, every time a negative thought comes. Or if it says I'm sick, I'm not sick, I'm well, my immune system is at 100%. I'm exactly where I need to be. And you got to do that within that span of 6 seconds. So that's just one of the techniques, but it definitely has to be applied on every day in every moment that you can.
Something I heard just recently. It was on a Chris Williamson podcast, and he was quoting somebody, but I don't forget who he was quoting. But it said, "I can always hear my better self clearing his throat in the room next door, and I just sit there waiting for him to finally come in and kick down the door." And eventually, he did. And I guess it's a testament to, as artists or just men in general, um, a lot of the times we know what to do, and we kind of know the truth, and it's kind of looming back there, but we need that extrinsic motivator to kind of like push us into action. Is that a
Yeah.
theory that you've seen kind of like play out in your experience working with folks?
Yeah, for sure.
Could you give testimony as to why we actually need those extrinsic motivators, and sometimes we just can't get up and do it on our own?
Yeah. Well, I feel like kind of we were talking a little earlier, that everything's fighting for our attention. And so sometimes we don't have enough energy for ourselves because we've used it everywhere else. One of the exercises I did with one of my teams at church actually I challenged everyone for the week that every time they went to the restroom to use the restroom or to take a shower, to leave their phone in another room. And you would have, you wouldn't imagine how many deep sighs, because everybody's like, no, you're gonna sit on the toilet, you're gonna be on your phone, or some people, their head is halfway out the shower because they're swiping it. And I was like, no, because one of the issues is you're afraid to be by yourself. You won't even stand by you. You won't spend any time with you alone. Every moment that you have, you're spending it with someone else. And so I really feel like life will come to push us um until we see us. Everything like just life will happen until you settle down enough to pay attention to you.
Can you expand on that concept of see us? Like, what do you actually mean by that? When you say we'll actually see ourselves, is it like a testament to self realization? Because that concept's really interesting.
Yeah, see yourself means that I'm able to pay attention to my thoughts and actually see what I'm thinking without someone else telling me what to think. Television tells me what to think. Commercials tell me what to think. TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, they tell me what to think. Even music, it tells me what to think. So I see myself enough to say, hey, you deserve some attention too. I paid attention to every person that drove by me. I paid attention to everybody at the gas station. I paid attention to everybody at my job. But I never take that time to sit with me, other than the moment that I wake up and go to that mirror. Most times, that's the only time that we see us. Is when I'm brushing my teeth, washing my face, getting it together, making sure I look good enough to be seen by other people, but never good enough for me to actually be present with myself. So I feel like seeing us means present enough to pay attention to my thoughts, present enough to do something with those thoughts. And I'm also present enough to get rid of the thoughts that don't serve me well.
That last one's the hardest part because they're intrusive. It's like we don't. Stephen Bartlett's talking that we don't control our belief. Steph Curry, like I could say, Brandon, do you believe that pro wrestling is real? And I'll say, and you'll be like, well, no, it's super fake. I was like, well, I'll give you $1,000 to endorse an event as a real event. You can make the post that it's real and say out of your mouth it's real, but you don't believe it. So these things that we believe are they're intruding. You know what I mean? We're not choosing to think I'm bad. You just believe it. There's like a whole deconstruction process that has to happen. So what do you say to somebody that's like, I don't want to be alone with myself because I don't really like who I am. Like you I don't want to be alone with myself. Like I don't like my own company.
Yeah, I would say you're gonna have to do it eventually. You're gonna have to see you eventually because all of life is all of the earth, all of the uni and the verse, all of creation is going to point back to you. It's actually going to reflect you. You're going to show up in the relationships around you. You're going to show up in the connections that you want to disconnect from because it's a sign to reflect you. So whether or not you choose to be by yourself or not, it doesn't mean you're not going to see yourself. It just means you're not going to acknowledge you. But you're going to show up. You're just going to come through another body. You're going to show up in your friendship. You're going to show up in your marriage. You're going to show up with your kid. There's something in you that you're not handling head on, that you're not paying attention to, that's going to show up in your vicinity, in your ecosystem. So you might as well take the time now to actually pay attention to you and find out the good that you do like about you. Because the stuff that you don't like is probably because you're comparing yourself to other people. I don't have it like that, or I don't look like this, or. So I feel like my message to them would be do it anyway. Find out what's likable about you.
I saw a professional doing this workshop, and she was asking people, say, tell me 3 things about yourself that aren't correlated to somebody else. So obviously the first person that somebody says, I'm a great caregiver. I was like, well, no, you're caring for somebody else. Give me something about you. Well, I'm a mom. Well, that correlates with your children. 3 things about you. And it was so hard for the people in the audience to actually say 3 things about themselves because they didn't know who they were apart from the people they were engaged with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's a normality. That's most of us. We are attached, I should say, to our labels and our titles, and whether that's mom or boss or CEO or like whatever that is, if that gets stripped away from you, who are you? Like I even have to know that as an artist, if my voice ever went away, Yah forbid, like who am I? Am I still an artist because I can't produce it here? And I am. You know what I'm saying? I know that now. And so that's a real truth to accept and to give attention to for sure.
If being an artist isn't contingent on your voice, what would you say makes you an artist? And before you answer, I had a theory. It was actually artists have a heightened sensitivity. They see the world different. That's what makes you an artist, the way you process thoughts, colors, events, things in your life. You see them in terms of story, sound. So it doesn't mean just because you don't make songs doesn't mean you're an art. Like you can be an artist without making songs or painting or whatever. It has to do with your sensitivity and the way you see the world. So if you're not singing, yet you still feel like you're an artist, what is it that makes you an artist, in your opinion?
It's creative energy. Creative energy is God energy. As long as I'm able to process a thought, creative energy within me, not brain dead. As long as I'm not brain dead and I can process that, I'm still an artist because I can do something with that creative energy. So let's say I didn't have a singing voice. I could take that art and interpret it through songwriting, because I do. Or I could take that art and create pictures out of it. Or if I couldn't draw, I could take that art and create animation out of it. Or if I couldn't do animation, I could dance it with my body. In some way, I'm going to take the creative energy as an artist, and that creative nature lives in every single person. Even people that feel like, oh, I'm not a creative. Actually, if you have God breath, you're creative. It's a part of you. That's why every day, all day, you're always thinking. You've got millions of thoughts that are traveling through you and just waiting for you to accept one or two of them to do something. There's a sacred scripture that says, your gift shall make room for you. Whenever I hear that scripture, I immediately think about the gift, because I think a lot of people feel like the gift is a talent, or what you're good at doing, or something that you can put before the people. But the gift is really how you think. It's your creative ability. It's your thought process. It's the way that Julian Jones processes information, sees music and translates it. That is what will put him in another room. That is what will put him before great men. That is what will open up other doors. It has nothing else to do with anything else. It's the way that he's wired internally. It's his frequency and how he can process a thought. And so I feel like our thoughts are one of the greatest tools that we have. We can think ourselves out of where we are. We can think ourselves into a bigger tax bracket. We can think ourselves into a better album. We can think ourselves into greater production. Your brain can take this beautiful podcast and edit it in post and take it up, because that's just how your mind
Mhm.
works. It says, hey,
Yeah.
if I clip it here, if I push it here, I make it smooth. I bring it to an organic space and place. So our mind is true artistry.
And it makes sense too, because you see the people, everybody has that one friend. It's like just good at everything, you know? And a lot of it isn't the hard skill as much as it is just confidence. Like growing up, I had a buddy that was good at every sport. All the girls loved him. One day we went to karaoke, he picks up a mic, starts singing. I'm like, bro, is there anything you can't do? And then in hindsight, I'm like, he just believes he can do it, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Permission to believe. That's powerful. Yeah, that's great.
Wild. I was watching an interview. It was back probably 11, 12 years ago. It was Richard Sherman, the cornerback from back when he was on Seattle, and he was arguing with Skip Bayless. And they were it's just regular sports jawing back and forth. And Richard Sherman, and he's like young Richard Sherman, still like a star in the NFL. And he's like, and Skip's like seasoned journalist. And he's like, Skip, I'm better at life than you. And it just got me thinking, in your opinion, what does it mean to be good at life?
Oh, good at life. I think I'm gonna put a little billboard right here. I think one of my messages, the book that I've been writing, I might have mentioned it to you, is to feel good, be good, and I feel like that is
Say that
mastering.
one more time, please. Feel
Yeah,
good, be good. And what was the third one?
and attract good. Feel good, be good, and attract good. And so I feel like that is mastering life, is that I'm able to embody goodness, I'm able to attract goodness, and I'm able to share goodness in my life. And I think when we're able to do that and give ourselves permission to feel good, to be good, and to attract good, that we master this human experience. No longer telling myself I don't deserve it, telling myself I'm not worthy of it, telling myself that I'll never have it. I give myself permission to experience all the goodness that this universe has, that this earth has, that the heavens has, that the quantum field has for me. But I really feel like living life well looks like feeling good. It looks like being good and attracting good.
Reminds me of the Peter Sage quote. He said we're in Earth School, and the point of Earth School, the curriculum is just growth and contribution. So you're meant to grow and improve for the sake of giving and expanding, whether that's in your energy, time, money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It's powerful. I love that.
Yeah, man. So this degree of spirituality and just knowledge, how has this impacted you creatively when it comes to music?
It's impacted me by increasing my confidence in myself and
Okay.
just in my expression. I feel like now, because I accepted my I amness, that I like to call it, just my divine nature, that I'm also willing to express things that have not been expressed. I mean, I feel like when initially started, I was a bit concerned about represent myself. Like, what? Like, let's go back to Black Man, which was my first song. I think a lot of people expected me to do, especially because I'm in a background in ministry. Excuse me. So, because of my background in ministry, I think a lot of people expected me to do worship. My first project to date, actually. The people are like waiting on a worship album because they're like, "Hey, you're leading worship on the weekends.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
where is this stuff?" But I also realized that my gift is not solely for church, and the only way that I can get that message to the rest of the world is I have to speak more than one language. And so I definitely feel like my growth in spirituality has increased my creative ability because now I'm able to speak more than one language. I'm able to write metaphorically. I'm able to use double entendres to share more than one message at one time. And I think that's just a matter of knowing who I am, that it's really not predicated or contingent upon anyone's opinion about my art, but it's really just about the art that I'm producing and trusting that. So I can definitely attribute that to spirituality because it's allowed me to trust myself.
Which is a big part of us as a big part of the thing that makes us creatives. It may not be as much execution as much as it is, say, taste. You know, we have this remarkable taste, so we can hear things. We hear things that sound good, sound combinations, color combinations, maybe see them in our minds and hear them in our heads. And that confidence to know that, hey, I'm not crazy. I'm ahead of my time. You know, like if I would have played 808s and Heartbreaks in 1999, my friends would be like, man, turn this off. You know, like what are you even playing right now? You know?
Yeah.
But you know, Kanye puts it out later and he's a genius. I'm sure there were people in the studio be like, I don't know, this is it, man. 3 classics, and then you're gonna, but it's the taste. And I think the missing piece, right, between your taste and execution is that confidence to be like, no, I'm not crazy. This is special. I'm not crazy. I'm ahead of my time, you know? And then be able to survive the naysayers until society catches up with you.
Catches up. Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
man. That's big, bro. That's big, Julian. Like, artists are having to learn how to survive until everyone catches up. That's that's dope, man. Very true. I agree. I agree
Yeah.
for sure.
But music's secular. I mean, it's you should take some solace in knowing that everything kind of comes back around. You know, big band jazzy stuff comes back around. I mean, the biggest sound in the early 2000s, it was Adele, Bruno Mars, and Amy Winehouse. It was 60s music. You know what I mean? It's like Bruno Mars was doing kind of like the 60s doo-wop thing. Amy Winehouse sounded like she was doing Motown records. It was 60s music, you know? So all music is cyclical, you know? So if you kind of stay in your lane long enough, I think you're going to get a swing, you know?
That's powerful.
What does the next ideal year look like for you? If we were to have this conversation February 2027, what would you want to be talking about that you accomplished in the previous 11 to 12 months?
Oh, I like that. This time next year, we will be talking about the three additional projects that I released. Um, the traveling that I did internationally, maybe some time in Thailand and that culture, and maybe Brandin
Didn't
Land
see
in
that coming. All
Thailand.
right.
um, yeah, and
Okay.
just kind of immersing myself in the culture, learning from that, and also creating art from that experience. I think we will be talking about a Christmas album, just bringing that to life, more growth and expansion, just exploring all that that would look like musically, and just growing with them and my being and my creativity.
Could we expect any live performances, perhaps selfishly, in the Philadelphia area?
You know what? There's a really awesome guy in Philly by the name of Julian Jones. You know that if I connect with
Okay.
him, I can definitely do one night in Brandon Land in Philly. So yeah, if he's
There
willing to
we
help me, it's
there
done,
we
bro.
go.
It's done.
Yeah. I'll tap into the network, man. I'll get you a venue. You come out here with the band, do the thing.
Good. Sounds good. Philly, here we come.
Let's
Sounds-
go.
yes, sir.
So we talked about your music. Where do you see music headed in general? Like we talk about music being cyclical. Um, we're kind of seeing. We just saw the Grammys last night. Where do you see the next wave of music headed in terms of like which genre?
It's hard to put my finger on it, to be honest, because I feel like the industry in itself is so different now than when I was younger. And it's a lot more opportunity for artists who are fusing genres and bending genres. Don't feel like now when I listen to R&B album that is solely R&B. It may be listed as the genre of R&B, but I can hear so many other genres merging into that sound sonically. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a challenge. I really feel like we're kind of moving into a gumbo in the music industry where it's gonna kind of mix itself up again before it divides again, which I think it's a beautiful thing because it's a universal sound. I'm hearing some of the stuff from Leon Thomas's R&B album that sounds like rock. Even Lucky Day, like they're bringing in other elements of music, and I like that. I really feel like we're moving into a era of music where we're going to hear a lot more non-traditional within a genre.
I think that's good, especially for Black music. Like when I was growing up in the '90s, like you would have these like R&B acts that would come out, but they would get like a short swing, like your Donnell Joneses, your Music Soul Childs, Indie Irie. You're getting like a hit song, maybe two albums, and then like unless you're already like in the circle, like you're anything that comes out after that, you're not even going to hear about it unless you're like a diehard fan, or like they're playing at like the venue like down the street, you know. And now I think being able to evolve and like branch out. That's why you have somebody like a John Legend who'll do like John Legend is still selling out the theater and he's still selling out the Meadow on Broad Street here, you know. And I think when did Get Lifted come out? 2004, something like that, you know. Um, so the ability to kind of like branch out into those other pockets, I think we're going to see a lot more female faces, Black faces, um, you know, at kind of like the top of like the pop food chain.
Agree. Also feel like we're going to see more gospel artists like rise to the top. The young guy Jamal, I think it's Roberts from this last season of American Idol. He won, and he's a gospel artist. Like he
Yeah,
was
I'm good with that. I mean,
yeah,
a
someone,
lot of stuff came from the church. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. And I appreciate that soul. I feel like that's what really made R&B is that you had a lot of kids that had this deep compassion and knowing of what love looked like and felt because of those church roots, and they were able to interpret that through the music. So I'm excited to see what that looks like.
yeah. That's where Motown came from. You know, it's like people playing in the church. You see these like session guys that were used to playing like out of the like once the church gets going, it's like a 10-minute song. So you got these killer pocket musicians that got to play a 10-minute song and still make it sound dynamic, you know?
Exactly.
So you get these skilled session guys because they all came from the church. Yeah,
Yep.
man.
They're still out here doing
That's
it
cool, man.
too.
So who are you most excited about now in terms of music?
I am a huge fan of Samara Joy. I love her. I feel like she's taking over jazz. I think she just won a Grammy last night. Love Leon Thomas, Lucky Day, um, Janelle Monáe. It's so many great artists out right now. Just I guess I'm not leaning on the
Incredible.
R&B side of music, but
Talk about genre bending.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. The list is long right now. It's a lot of great talent out.
Interesting stuff too, man. I'm interested to see what they do with it. Here's a question for you. We talked about probably a bunch of things that you're good at. What is a skill that you'd like to refine, or something you'd like to just get better at, or something you've noticed in yourself you'd like to improve?
Cooking. My parents.
Did you say cooking?
Yeah, 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 for sure.
I was like, is there a glitch in the? Yeah,
no,
he said
no
cooking.
glitch.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I'm a foodie, so I'm a pescatarian. Actually, it'll be 5 years this month, so I'm gonna do like a full celebration, a whole bunch of seafood or something. But um, my parents moved away to Hawaii about a year and some change ago, and so all of that good home cooked cooking, with all those home cooked meals, kind of went away. And then I have close friends that are chefs and stuff like that, so they're always around here. But I started challenging myself about a year ago to just like try new dishes and stuff like that. So I've been doing that a lot. And man, I'll be honest with you. At the end of the meals, I'm licking my fingers. I am. I'm really licking them, each one by one. So I'm definitely working on that, trying more recipes. I feel like that's a part of my creativity too, to kind of make dishes. And so I feel like that might not be expected, but I'll be posting on my threads. I'm always popping up with a little hot meal once a week.
So outside of cooking, what is something that you're proud of that has nothing to do with music?
And that I'm proud of doing music. Really proud of my parents are my greatest inspirations. I grew up in church. They were my youth pastors, then my pastors, and I pastored with them as an associate pastor. I sang with them at a very young age. I traveled with them. Yeah. Traveled with them, sang with them. And then more recently for them to move to Hawaii and they didn't retire yet. They're still actively working, sharing their gifts. My mom's a nurse. My dad is a chaplain. They both have their doctorates. And they're just like doing ministry non-traditionally, but I'm really proud to see them like take their breaks on the beach, like live their life and not wait until they're too old and don't have mobility. Like they're living their lives. And I really just want to be like them when I grow up. I'm proud of mom and dad. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, man. I'm really close with my parents too, man. Like I feel like my heart breaks when somebody's like, yeah, I don't really talk to my folks, or I gotta go see my folks over the holidays. I'm like, oh, you're like, you don't understand. Like, you gotta see your folks, man. Like it doesn't even like register like not being close with my parents, And I know it's lucky, it's perception, I happen to be one of the lucky ones, And I think you consider yourself a lucky one too, to have folks.
Very, very blessed.
So what advice would you give to, somebody coming up, teenager, early 20s, that said, hey man, I heard Brandin Land, I heard the music. I want to do what you're doing. What advice would you give that young man or woman?
Believe in yourself. Number one, study your craft and build your network on your level. See a lot of artists that are like breaking in, or they want to hit big. So they like try and come up with a $1,000 budget to book a producer that produced a record on Chris Brown's project. Don't do that. Don't do that. Work with people that are in your ecosystem, like in your vicinity, because you guys can help each other take those steps. But I would say definitely build your network right where you are. Your network, believe in yourself.
So you don't put out the kind of work and do the kind of work that you do without a significant team. When you're building or selecting the team around you, what are some of the attributes you look for in people to decide whether or not you want to work with them?
I'm still navigating that, still building a team. But definitely, I believe I look for creativity. Someone that is creating themselves, not creating just because I'm bringing a project. But I like to see people who are productive already, because that's just a telltale sign that there is a flow of energy in their life. So I also like a positive spirit, someone that is present and to be here. And even if not, but as far as a team, that's really important for me to have around me as a support system, to have people that understand their purpose. And then thirdly, just people of faith and emotional intelligence. you know, 'Cause this industry, this art form requires both. It requires faith. You've got to believe in what you're creating, what you're producing, what you're spending your time and energy on, and it requires your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions to be a part of it, to be present, make it authentic, and to make it real.
It seems like over the course of this interview, like you operate at like a five, right? I'm all over the place. I mean, but you operate. You're so calm, aware. Is there anything that keeps you up at night?
Dreams. Dreams that are alive, maybe, like, that I don't have to go to sleep to do. Yeah, no, I stay awake. I mean, you're saying like more so as a worry or concern or just anything.
Yeah, like is there anything that concerns you? Like what does a bad day look like for you? Like I can't
Man.
imagine you having a bad day.
You know what? I like to say that it really is a choice. I treat every day as a choice. Like, think if I get up and I choose to be unhappy, everything in the earth is going to reflect that. The traffic is going to wait for me at the freeway. You know, like my bank account is going to reflect it. I think, I don't choose bad days. Bad things can happen on good days, but I don't choose bad days. So I think I'm just giving myself permission to actually choose happiness. It's a choice. Like, often say, no one will put a gun to your head to choose the emotion of unhappiness. No one's, hey, you better be unhappy right now. That is not how it works. Emotions are something that we get to choose. We either choose to keep them or to discard them. And so I don't necessarily have bad days. I have great days, but I do have sometimes bad thoughts, or I may have bad experiences, whether that's relational or financial. And so those are some of the things that may come to me by the time I lay my head on the pillow, by the time I make it, in the house. But a part of that, what a day like that would look like, is also shower. I use a hot shower as a spiritual renewal, as a ritual, if you'd want to call it that. But cleanse myself and release
Yeah,
whatever
that
that
makes
is.
sense.
So if I'm feeling really weighed down, I'm gonna do things to heighten my frequency. I'm gonna make myself a hot tea. I'm gonna put on some solfeggio frequencies or binaural beats or some lo-fi, chill hop. I'm gonna do a hot shower. I'm gonna do what's necessary to get myself elevated. I may even, like last night, I had such a strenuous day. I didn't want to eat anything heavy. I only ate fruit and I went to sleep because I was like, I gotta live off of whatever this is tomorrow. You know what I'm
That
saying?
makes sense.
So, yeah, no bad days, only good days. Bad moments happen, bad thoughts come. Don't keep them. Get rid of them.
All good stuff, man. I hope everybody tunes into this one, man, because this is major. Not just, I mean, this is transcends just making music and writing songs and stuff. I mean, these are words to live by, man. And I hope a lot of people get plugged in. What is the best way to connect with you? Obviously, everybody has like a bunch of different profiles and ways to connect online. But what's the single best way if somebody wants to get down with you, either for vocal mentoring, for mental detox, or just to check out some music? Do you have like a specialized place where I could send somebody?
My website, brandonjmarks.com. And then I'm on every platform: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at Brandon J. Marks. Every handle is the same, Brandon J. Marks. And I'm on every music platform from Tidal to Apple Music, Spotify, Brandon J. Marks. You can find me everywhere.
So you heard it here first. If you guys want to get plugged in with Brandon, check him out at brandonjmarks.com. Find him on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, website, YouTube. He's all over. Brandon, I can't thank you enough for making the time to come out, man. I know it was more or less last minute, But this has been
No,
just such a
perfect.
fruitful time. I mean, I'm here listening to you as a fan, not just somebody hosting the show, man. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Julian. I count you as a brother and friend, so you'll be seeing more of me for sure now. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Fantastic, man. Let's stay connected. And the rest of you, no bad days. You choose your bad days. So
That's right.
make sure you take care of yourselves. If you like what you heard here today on Loves Music, share it with somebody who loves music. Check me out, like, comment, subscribe, and take care of yourselves. Have a great day.